not 55%, it's 65%. So although it's coming down compared to last year, it's still going to continue at a very high rate. And because this market has grown so rapidly in North America, kind of almost peaked already. If you look at the growth rate for North America in 2012, it's coming right down because such a surge of sales in 2011. But there's a lot of growth to come in a lot of other markets. A long way to go in emerging markets, I think.
That will drive those low volumes higher and higher. Yeah, so mobile PC, a pretty established category that will be embellished by, undoubtedly, without doubt, by Ultrabooks. And as Sean Duberback in the previous hour talked about, Ultrabooks are a very big story of the 2012 International CES. So this is what's going to be contributing to some of this growth that we're seeing. Steve was talking about how in Japan the Ultrabook penetration rate is a lot higher than elsewhere in the globe. So I think Ultrabooks will be, as far as mobile PC is concerned, one of those stories to watch that will start to influence some of these numbers. But again, that leapfrogging aspect where they're not really satisfied with yesterday's technology, talking about emerging economies and markets, they want today. So they want mobility, and again, that's an important factor in driving business opportunities in those emerging markets because they need that mobility because the infrastructure really isn't there. So they need the wireless aspect, if you will, to facilitate business. Desk PCs, this don't have to spend a lot of time here because it obviously is a category that is in decline, but still eking out some growth in some of the emerging segments. Not completely dead. So another conversation piece for you is media when we're talking with the likes of Dell and other desktop PC makers. But in most developed economies, I think this category has been really reduced to a niche, a specialty niche when you think about gaming rigs that cost thousands of dollars. But Steve talked about earlier about all-in-one PCs that really have breathed new life into the desk PC category.
Just to kind of show some analysis in terms of sort of the dynamic with tablets within, if you class tablet as a mobile PC, which I guess it is in many ways, what we've really seen so far is, yes, in North America undoubtedly, and to some extent in Western Europe, the tablet PC phenomenon is impacting on notebook PCs, but much more significant is the impact it's really had on netbooks. And from the moment that tablet PCs hit the market, netbooks, which were already well, actually at that point they were still incremental, started to go negative, and that's what's really dragged that blue line below the red line. So notebook demand is actually relatively robust from a global perspective. It's still double digit, still going to be double digit next year as well. That's not to say it's not going to be impacted in a fairly significant way going forward, but that's where the whole Ultrabook story comes in. It's really, obviously something to, as Steve says, something to watch. Definitely in 2012 does that have a significant impact in fighting back against tablet PCs. But depends how you look at it, because you could say that given the economic climate of 2011, that tablet PC growth can be viewed as, to some extent, incremental to a market, and not just a cannibalistic thing. So we'll never work out quite what that balance is, but it's a mix of the two quite clearly. I think that's bringing us to a close, and I guess we're pretty much
well, we've got
time.
TV to talk about.
Oh, have we? Oh dear.
Yes, we do. We can't leave you without talking about TV. Obviously, a centerpiece in Central Hall, home theater included there. What we want to step through here is a view to not only the overall market that you see in front of you here, which is starting to slow, really as a result of contraction in a lot of the developed world economies as a function of really maxed out market opportunity because penetrations are maxing out. So we've kind of spent that spending fuel, if you will, and some of that is now being shifted over to emerging economies, the similar theme that we see. But still, in a total volume standpoint, a point we want to make is that TVs are still a very significant part of the global CE picture. Even as we talk about mobile connected devices, TVs remain a very important piece of the puzzle. Several things are happening within the TV market that you need to be cognizant of. One is a shift, a very quick shift to LCD technology that is quite literally pushing out, if you will, other technologies at a very rapid pace. There are certainly cost efficiencies, and again, and I talked about how the emerging markets, they want the latest, so we're seeing really robust sales take place here for LCD. But Steve's going to tell you about where in the world we can find some of this opportunity for these technologies and regions.
Yeah, right. So if you look at the green arrows, then really that's where the opportunity. I mean, if you're in a market where you do not have a kind of really attractive overall revenue growth, then you've got to look at what are the opportunities within that market in terms of product shifts. And clearly, these are the product shifts that everybody are focusing on. There's the product shifts themselves. LED, clearly, that's been around a couple of years now. Connected TV really started to gather pace this year. 3D TV as well actually started to gather pace this year, more than I think we originally expected. And then you've got the regional factors, emerging markets. And clearly, put green together with green, and you've got a really significant opportunity. Put green together with red, so LED TV in developed markets, there's still potentially an opportunity. There's still more to go there. But it's within a market that's overall in contraction. So we'll...
Yeah, so this is again kind of looking at the TV market regionally. This is looking at LCD TV growth. No need to go into, I've already said it, the emerging markets are the ones that are really taking advantage, while developed nations, really have had their go.
Speed on.
Yeah, and Steve was talking about LED. You saw that very significant green arrow. So LED, so within this technology shift, not only are we seeing a shift to LCD technology, but within LCD there's a shift taking place to LED. And eventually we'll get to OLED. And that's one of those storylines, though, that we believe is really more of a storyline for the second half of this decade. You're going to see some OLED displays from different manufacturers at the 2012 CES, but really it's going to take some time for those prices to come down, because we've trained the customer, haven't we, to expect a quite low price indeed when it comes to TVs. So OLED, it's going to take some time to get there. 3D, we wanted to share some data. This is from GfK Boutique Research TV Demand Projector, really a global supply through demand analysis of the global TV market. But really just showing you the growth rates here. Steve talked about it, growing at a surprising rate, really starting to take off quite nicely in 2011. And Steve, I think you had a few remarks. Am I wrong on this slide?
I think actually the penetration, I'm check my facts here, but I think the penetration of 3D TV is actually highest in China right now in 4Q. And that's because they got hold of passive 3D technology, which they could then apply to non-LED TVs, so actually quite low-priced TVs, and really push that, and made a really significant sort of step through to 3D. Now, that kind of raises the debate as to what are people doing with those 3D TVs, because there's probably not a lot of 3D content in China. But I think that's going to be, I guess, another of the big talking points here, is what do people do once they've got this TV?
Yeah.
But that just serves to prove the point. If you get the price low enough, people will take the product.
Yeah, and 3D content's going to be a theme. But about 1 in 10 displays purchased in 2011 was a 3D TV. And for the U.S. market, just for your, again, as an FYI, our projections at CEA for U.S. TV sales continue to see the overall share within the TV segment growing for 3D, really as a function of this feature proliferating across. So when you look at growth curves, they're quite linear. They're not the S shape that you see typically from a consumer adoption of a technology. There's early adopters, mass market, maturity, and then eventual decline. Because this is being applied unilaterally across a lot of TV manufacturers' lines, you see quite a linear growth curve. So just some food for thought.
And that makes it even more price dependent. And that's kind of what this is about. This may be more or less our last slide. And it's really to just show the connection between price and the impact on penetration in the marketplace. Now you've got LED TV at essentially a 20% premium within the marketplace. When you get down to that level of premium, there's not a big barrier to buy. So even at 50%, it's not too bad. So that's why we're projecting the LED penetration to really continue to take the lead overall, accepting the fact that many of these three functionalities appearing in a single product. So there's overlapping segments here going on. But also why these other technologies or these other functionalities will kind of be follow-on from LED. And obviously will accelerate more as the price comes down further. But at essentially more than 2 times premium on 3D, that obviously does limit growth.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll reserve Q&A if you have a question, just because Unveiled is starting, and I already see some folks starting to depart. Price points are starting to converge for TVs as a lot of these features start to really come together. And we'll leave you with just a few summary points that you can take a quick snap of, just so you make sure you get your facts right when you're talking about the data. We wanted to summarize this for you. But again, thank you for attending. Welcome to the 2012 International CES. Steve and I will be staying around for a few minutes to answer your questions. And enjoy CES Unveiled. Thank you very much.